the hips at this point as I go to do now, but it's a little late and he manages to slip the knee. So you've got to track that. Don't go to north-south too early, okay? Only when you've decided to get chest to chest. This time I stack again. And the way I lose this one, so I beat his frame, using my knee. I tried to use my knee to beat his frame. He's gone back to framing again. I lose this one by put my knee behind the back, keeping a stack. I do grab the far hip, but it's not enough. And he kind of frees his leg from my head and extends, and it makes my grip slip. So you'll see this in a moment. So see here, I've got not a great grip on the far hip. I think he might have just freed his leg from my head. Yeah, and then as he extends here, you'll watch my grip. It's okay, it needs to be a little deeper. And it makes my hip slip. And now as the hips move away, this knee will then... I'm still actually in front of that knee, so I've got a chance still at passing here or going duck under. So I try and stay in front of that knee. You know, this is an avenue in front of him here to pass. But he managed to get that top knee just in front before my head could drop. Okay, so then I think I come back over that leg now because he's overcommitted on the top leg. I step over to a smash pass. I probably should go body lock at this point, although I think because I'm working under the legs passing, I go back under the leg and try to go back. But a couple of things there, just some slight adjustments deeper on the hip. You'll see this in this case, I will get a bit of a deeper grip on the hip here with my left hand, and that's a much better control. I can then start to walk to the side and pull the hip in. You see that pull of the hip, my elbow getting close towards my own hip forces the turtle. So we'll look at some different examples of entries. Again, kind of hiding against that triangle attempt. Keeping the elbow tight is often a good way to enter. So now I'm in the Miragaya position. I'll keep my head in front. In this case, Isaac's basically gone to hip escape. So in this case, I'll basically just try to lock onto the hips, almost like a reverse body lock. Here, staying in front of the bottom leg, other hand close. It should be hard for the top leg to come in, and because of where my arm is, hopefully hard for the bottom leg to come in too. And then you've got this, it is the little tricky battle, sort of you got to kind of swivel your hips to try to beat those frames and actually consolidate the pass. This one, we might as well watch it because we're here, but it's not quite a single under because I already have my right arm through, as you'll see here. See, my right arm's actually through past hip. This is basically what we want to do from that low single under towards the end of the pass. Okay, if you've already got that grip from the north-south, then you can go back to basically mimicking the single under, and you'll see that with the hand there, it's easy to force to turn because that leg just can't come back in with your right hand framing their leg. But you have to have that. You have to either get that late through the single underpass or early on the entry when you enter from somewhere like a north-south. So this one, you can see my head's over the top. You can see the direction. I've got the stack. I've got my knee under the hips. Right now, probably what I want to do is get my right arm under the hips. I'm going to use that knee to hold him in place. Adjust my arms a little bit. Okay. Okay, I've switched sides actually, which is not uncommon. And now I've got my arm underneath the hips. Right, now I've got the arm underneath the hips. I can allow the legs out. I've pinned in the meantime, pinning that arm is very good. Look for this, even if they're not framing, if you can see their arm is in a pinnable position, take it. I think he's basically tried to overhook my leg. So I'll come over the top, pin it with my shin. This one's a good one to see. So the entry, basically, it was over under. He overcommitted with his top leg, so I cut around the corner. I'm now in a single underhook pass. I'm just blocking that foot from... I know my biggest worry is his foot would hook my own leg here, so I was holding his ankle trying to stop that until my arm could get in the way. All right, now my arm's in the way, I can stack. This one there's actually an issue because Brody rolls out of the stack kind of too front on to me, and he's able to grab this leg. So what I should do when I stack and they turtle is circle around to the side so that they can't grab this leg. You see he manages to grab that. That leg should have, as soon as he's beginning to turtle, I should be circling behind. Right. So I do manage to recover from this. But it could be better. There we go. Okay, so stepping over, like, ends up okay, but better if they don't actually grab your leg. Alright, so if we look at some gi passing. Trying to deal with that frame. You can see the slight turn of the knees to face away. So the hips should be pulled in further than the knees, basically. Okay, now I do like a reverse knee cut. End up in that, almost like that reverse body lock position. I think this one's a really good one to see the angle. When I cut around, how low I get. A lot of the time, if you want to reach the far hip like this, okay? A low grip. And you should also, by being low, have good access with your right hand to take that hip too. Okay, then, so I'm kind of on my knees. And then often when I'm passing, I'll build up into a tripod. The tripod makes the frame, like they're going to frame your hip and your hips as far away as possible, so they're least likely to actually affect your balance by or your positioning by pushing on your hip. Right. In this case, there's a crossover. I've lost the knee line. I'll underhook that leg when there's a crossover, and then I'll try to pin this bottom leg. That's going to allow us to try to do a little shin flick and go into the Mirugai or duck under position. So obviously sometimes you can establish a deep far across the hip grip first before you even move around the side, so then you can go to the shin. Now I'm in great position, holding that ankle so he can't hook my leg. And then I can put my knee underneath, hand underneath across the back. That's a great position to pass. This is a good one to see two things. One, just because I didn't have any examples to show live, but actually I do have an example, is when I go under the leg here, Patrick gets like a nice little inside pummel on my bicep. And then he's able to frame my hip. So I managed to just reach across the far side, which stopped him removing my arm. And then you'll see, like, basically, you don't always have to pin their arm. Sometimes that feels like it's too far to move, right? You give up too much. Just a little knock with my knee will get his hand off my hip. Watch, so I'll step my knee inside, and I've just knocked it enough. Now it's no longer, if he pushes, it's not pushing my hip anymore. He actually removes that, and then I close the gap enough. Alright, lastly, if you can pin their shoulder with your hip to stop them turning or slow them down, that's going to help with the pass. Alright, we might look at maybe one more example, maybe something with Ash. There we are. Alright, so over under, I cut to the side, I try and grab that far hip, but as I do that, Ash manages to open his leg wide. So you see it goes from being on my shoulder to wider. So I'm actually going to change sides now. I shuck back and I start to lose it. And then I end up changing sides to the other side from the double unders. This is that inside pummel again of the arm. Where are we? He's got this self frame. He's turning his hips. I'm trying to beat that near side frame. Oh, this mustn't be one where sorry, I thought this was one where I changed sides. I was wrong. Okay, what happens here? So you can see I'm very low down. I shuck. He almost sits up, so you have to kind of build base again. All right, so he's trying to peel this hand. And I managed to get it far across the hip. I got my head tight against the knee. And I'm low enough that I've got a decent pull in on this hip. It's not under the hip, but at least it's pulled in tight. Okay, that's getting under the hip better. All right, so now I can pull the hips in closer. And then the frame's not fully on my hip. I'm close enough that I can sort of just try to clear it anyway and get even closer with my hips. And then I go reverse knee on the shoulder. Now I just, the worry here is that he tries to get a knee back underneath. So I'm trying to keep my shoulder, I'm sort of bringing my head across and shoulder low. So my hand's in front of both of the legs at this point. And then I'm able to drop my head in front and pass. All right, we might leave it there. This whole clip with live clips of me doing a single underpass, we'll put that in the video section. If you search single underpass, you should be able to see a good 20 minutes of